So here I have the USB stick that I put the file WR-137_Anritsu XKT on it, and I've inserted it into the FieldFox on the right side. I am using data link to look at my FieldFox, and you can see that file. The main thing is you want to get that file copied into the CalKits directory of FieldFox. That's where the Cal Wizard looks in that directory. So on my FieldFox, I come and I press Save Recall. I change the device to USB, More, and I say Manage Files, and there's my Anritsu kit. I select it, and I say Copy it. And it's saying, where do you want to copy it? I'm going to copy it internal. Internal means FieldFox's internal SD card memory. Then I navigate down to the CalKits directory, and then I say, Do Copy. Now that's in the CalKit directory, and if you refresh this, and I come and I look in the CalKits directory and scroll to the bottom, there's the new kit I added. So now if I go and run the Cal Wizard, I will see that CalKit. I won't quite see it right now. I'll see the CalKit, but the Cal won't work, and I'll point out to you why. I'll change my DUT to WR-137. I go Next. There is my Anritsu kit. I pick it, and I say Finish, and it's saying a 1-port Cal, and I'll try to start a Cal, and I get this insufficient frequency range because this Cal kit is defined in the limited frequency range, and I hadn't changed the frequency range on my box. I will change it to, let's say, 6 to 7 gigahertz. Start 6 gigahertz, start 7 gigahertz, and then I can go ahead and perform a calibration. And it says first hook up your 1/8 of a short, that's your short equivalent. 3/8 of a short, that's a quarter wavelength away, that's your open equivalent, and that's your load. So now you have an open short load Cal, and you can perform measurement. That frequency range limitation, if you look at the CalKit definition file, you will see that there's a frequency range. You know, I put it 5 to 10 gig when I define this CalKit. Sometimes they leave it at 999, they leave it wide open, sometimes they restrict it. That's really a user preference. It's kind of foolproofing. Do you want to foolproof it, or do you want to leave it wide open? It doesn't make a difference to the actual calibration. But that very first step, if you restrict it to 5 to 10 gigahertz, which I think is reasonable for this CalKit, and you try to calibrate 20 gigahertz, it comes back and says, hey, you don't have enough standards, there's no 20 gigahertz standard. So anyway, and here are the standards that I defined for this kit, like the 1/8 of a short, the 3/8 has a delay. I took the millimeter value, I converted it to the delay. I did the same for the 1/8. And on the SOLT tab, this is your first reflection standard. I've got the short selected, then we go to the SB, that's the 3/8. It's a quarter wavelength away from a short, essentially is an open. We can't really have an open with the CalKit, but that's the best we can do, and that's your low. That's your CalKit definition. Now what if you were going to do an insertion loss measurement in a 2-port Cal? It's easier to do this actually in NA mode. You can do it in cap mode and add insertion loss too. But let's just go to NA mode and say we have both S11 and S21. And I'll change the frequency range so I don't get an error again. Let's say 6 gig to 7 gig. Since we're doing a fake Cal, let's say 101 point, so it goes fast. And let's just say calibration. I go to mechanical Cal, and I need to change both ports to WR-137, so I say change DUT connector. Port 1 is WR-137, and I change port 2 also to WR-137. And we'll pick the Anritsu kit for both ports. And the type of Cal is full 2-port, which is full 2-port unknown through essentially, and we go through start Cal. And this is 7 steps, open short load on port 1, which is 1/8, 3/8 load on port 1. Then it's the 1/8, 3/8 and load on port 2, and then it's a through Cal. And this is your 2-port Cal if you're going to try to get both S1 and S21. And again, as I mentioned, we don't have this CalKit. I don't have a way of testing this. I assume it's correct, but I don't have any way of verifying that. That's going to be up to the folks who have the CalKit. And so any CalKit definition you put in here is what shows up in the Cal Wizard. That's kind of the key with FieldFox. If I, for example, go ahead and delete this, I just want to show you how this works. Let's refresh it to make sure actually my deleting worked. Show files. User data, Cal kits. Is it there? It's not there anymore. If I say Cal, mechanical Cal, you see it's gone to kit name has gone blank. And if you actually go into change the dot connectors, which is where you change the Cal kits, you will see that that kit is no longer listed. And the built-in ones, if you delete them by mistake, it's not a problem. If you reboot the box, they get reloaded up. That's it. Thanks. Bye-bye.